It began 20 years ago. 2 people and a dream that offered a myriad of possibilities. Today, that dream has grown into reality. One that includes more than 700 highly skilled software professionals working in multiple associated companies. Launched in 1999, Creative Software is one of Sri Lanka's pioneering software development companies. Our success story is one of steady expansion and development. For 2 decades now, we have been engaged in delivering world-class software products, creating the future of enterprise software with solutions that adapt and evolve along with the world we live in. Our technology has helped people live safer, healthier, better lives, offering them recourse to the services they need the most. We have transformed businesses, simplified lives, increased benefits, and improved accessibility. Today, Creative Software work for clients around the world and across a wide variety of sectors, from construction, logistics, manufacturing and retail, to finance, healthcare, mobile workforce, telecommunications, hospitality, mining and education. Creative Software is proud to contribute close to 3 billion Sri Lankan rupees in export revenue to the country on an annual basis.
It is clear to me that the success we've had in Sri Lanka is entirely dependent on the incredibly talented and dedicated staff we have found here. And in fact, the talent we could find here was the reason we came to Sri Lanka in the first place. In the 1990s, when we came, we visited universities and we were very impressed by the high quality of the courses and the graduates and software professionals that we find in Sri Lanka. This still holds true today. I mean, we work with clients from all over the world. We are able to attract really good software engineers to work on their projects, helping them to enhance their products and be more competitive in the market. Being in Sri Lanka has definitely been a competitive advantage for us, and I anticipate it to continue to be so in the future.
Creative Software believes in creating an environment in which its team members can flourish not just professionally but personally, with a working atmosphere that includes spaces for reflection and relaxation, flexible working hours, regular team-building activities, professional development and training programs, and a strong commitment to encouraging a healthy work-life balance. It is no surprise that many of our team members now count 10 years or more with the Creative Software family. Retaining and attracting the best is a priority for Creative Software. With this in mind, the company invests in regular university outreach programs. With a focus on molding the software professionals of tomorrow, we opened 2 R&D centers at NSBM Green University Town and another in-house with the University of Colombo School of Computing. We are committed to aligning with global trends. Our R&D Center for AI, Machine Learning and Deep Learning provides an ideal platform for the younger generation to enhance their skills.
At Creative Software, we are seriously encouraging innovation and entrepreneurship. To promote entrepreneurship, a few years back we started our own incubation lab called Idea Lab. Through Idea Lab, we have supported a few products with commercial potential, and they are already in the market, and there are a few more in the pipeline as well. On the other hand, to promote innovation, we have started a research and development facility fully focused on artificial intelligence, and through a very ambitious project for autonomous driving. The main objective of that project is to make the students, especially the university students, industry ready.
The company also carries out a range of mentoring and research programs, as well as internships, career days, and the recently launched and very popular Creative Sixes, the first inter-IT faculty cricket tournament in Sri Lanka. All of our university engagement initiatives are designed to take talented students direct to the global marketplace and postings with our eminent international clientele. Creative Software is also dedicated to giving back to its country and community. A project very close to the company's own heart, the Little Hearts Initiative, supports the Sri Lanka College of Paediatricians to gather funds to expedite the construction of Lady Ridgeway Hospital's cardiac and critical care complex. Sustainable education initiatives are a keystone of the company's outreach work. Creative Software focuses on meeting a school's most urgent needs, offering concrete assistance in the form of funds and donations, while also giving our time and experience with knowledge sharing and mentorship programs designed to pique the students' interest in IT. Almost every Creative Software team member participates in an annual blood donation drive. We have also contributed to a greener tomorrow with 1,200 tree saplings that are part of our creative reforestation program in collaboration with the University of Ruhuna. At Creative Software, we look back proudly on 20 years of unprecedented growth as one of Sri Lanka's pioneers in software exports. And we look to the future with confidence in our people, our philosophy, and in the limitless potential of what we have to offer.
Good afternoon to all of you. 10 months ago, when we were appointed as the 5th Executive Committee of the Gavel Club of University of Colombo, we made a promise. That was that we would spend this term to uplift the standards of the club within the university, that we would strive with all our efforts to develop the English-speaking skills of the undergraduates of the University of Colombo. After workshops, educational initiatives, mentorship sessions, and a lot more, we are here at Oration 2020, the face of all our efforts. Oration 2020 was the climax of a term-long project to develop the English-speaking skills of the undergraduates of the University of Colombo. On this momentous occasion, I'd like to welcome the following dignitaries on behalf of my ever-loving organizing committee. Our chief guest, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeyarathne. Our guest of honor, the immediate past District Director of Toastmasters District 82, Distinguished Toastmaster Sarma Mahalingam. Our keynote speaker, the Group CEO of Hemas Holdings, Mrs. Kasturi Chellaraja Wilson. The overall Chief Judge of Oration 2020, Distinguished Toastmaster Kunserivawan Kamravela. The Chief Judge of the final round of Oration 2020, Toastmaster Rauf Hakim, Chief Judges of the previous rounds, judges and other invited Toastmasters, deans, directors, and heads of the various faculties, institutions, and departments of within the University of Colombo, our Senior Treasurer, Dr. Nadika Basnayaka, and our former Senior Treasurers, Dr. Dilhari Artigala and Dr. Ashoka Ramanayaka, the co-directors of the Career Guidance Unit, Professor Deepthi Vikramasinghe and Professor Chamarika Hettiarachchi, other invited members of the academic and non-academic staff, the contestants of Oration 2020, including the 6 finalists who are here to dazzle us, representatives from the Gavel Clubs of Sri Lanka, other invited guests, friends and family, and everyone joining on Zoom and on Facebook Live. Welcome to Oration 2020. To the 6 contestants, I wish you all the best, and I hope that you seize the moment. To everyone else, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Back to you, Tarindi.
Thank you, Gavel Udita. It is now time for the main event. In a few minutes, we will witness our own talented undergraduates who collectively represent various faculties of UOC take the screen. To carry on, I would like to invite our contest chair, one of our past presidents, an all-round pillar of strength, Gavaldiya Vimuktini Jailath, to continue with the proceedings.
Good afternoon, Chief Judge and fellow judges, contest officials and contestants. Welcome to the final round of Oration 2020. All the contestants have met the eligibility criteria, which is to be an undergraduate of the University of Colombo as at 4th July 2020 and to be of above 17 years of age. Timing will begin with the contestants' first definite verbal or non-verbal communication with the audience. The time allowed is 5 to 7 minutes. There will be a grace period of 30 seconds. Speakers speaking for less than 4 minutes and 30 seconds or more than 7 minutes and 30 seconds will be disqualified. The green color will be displayed at 5 minutes and will remain displayed for 60 seconds. The yellow color will be displayed at 6 minutes and will remain displayed for 60 seconds. The red color will be displayed at 7 minutes and will remain displayed until the speech has concluded. No signal will be given for the overtime period. Further, I kindly request the judges to swap the video of the speaker with the shared screen content to have a better view of the contestant. You may also use the side-by-side mode available in the View Options menu at the top of your screens. If you're joining in by phone, please tap on the video of the speaker to swap with the shared screen. If you're joining by laptop, the option is at the top right corner of the small window where you can see the speaker. The speaking order of the contestants has already been determined at random via a computer program. The speaking order is contestant number 1, Dasuni Matararachi, contestant number 2, Ganeshini Sridharan, contestant number 3, Ishani Senadipati, contestant number 4, Mayura Sukumaran, contestant number 5, Hirudini Vikramanayaka, contestant number 6, Ramalka Khasige. Now I will explain the flow of the contest. Everybody is requested to mute their audio during the proceedings. The contestants will unmute themselves and switch on their videos when called upon by the contest chair in the speaking order. I will ask each contestant to adjust his video and audio settings and confirm them by saying check, check. He will be given 30 seconds to do so. I will ask the contestants the two questions of, can we check if you're audible? Please say yes if you can hear me. Can you see the timer screen? The contestants' audibility, visibility, and their ability to see the timing cards is confirmed through this test. There will be a 1-minute interval between speeches for judges to mark their ballots. After all the contestants have finished their speeches, a 3-minute interval will be observed to enable the judges to total their scores. Announcement of the contest winners is final, unless announced incorrectly, in which case the chief judge, tally counters, or timers are permitted to immediately interrupt to correct the error. If a contestant experiences a technical malfunction which disrupts the speech from moving forward, that contestant will be reassigned to the last position in the order of speaking and will be given the opportunity to deliver their speech as the last speaker. May I remind all members present to kindly keep their audio on mute and switch off their video throughout the meeting. Chief Judge, are we ready to proceed?
Yes, please go ahead.
Now let us welcome contestant number 1. Contestant, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Contestant, can you see the timing cards?
Yes, I can.
Chief Judge and the judges, are you ready?
Yes, we are ready. Hello, can you hear me? Hello.
Ladies and gentlemen, it seems that our contest chair is having a little bit of a connection problem. Never mind that. Sorry for the mix-up. Chief Judge, you are ready to go?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. Timer, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, contestant, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. Contestant number 1, Dasuni Matararachi. Be your own master. Be your own master, Dasuni Matararachi.
All of us have some kind of a fear in life. In my case, lighting a matchstick was one of the biggest fears I ever had. But now, if somebody asks me to light one, I would no longer run away or hide. Contest chair, ladies and gentlemen, that was not the only fear I had. I had many fears in my life. Back in 2017, I had to take my leaving certificate and say goodbye to 13 years of my school life. At the corridor of my school, Southlands College, I was standing in a long queue with so many girls, all in their uniforms, holding files and documents. And I happened to peep. The girl in front of me and the girl in behind me had pages of recommendations from teachers, inked in blue and black. And then I looked at my one. I only had my A-level results. I wondered why I ended up like that. Then I realized it was because of this fear I had for expressing myself. Because of that, I never wanted to go to forums and speak. I never put myself out. On that day, I was so disappointed and frustrated. As soon as I received my leaving certificate, I went home, thinking about all those opportunities I missed just because of that fear I had. As I walked in to our home, I saw a familiar face. That was Aunt Manil. She's my mom's best friend, and she's more like a friend to me too. She quickly figured out that I was having some kind of a problem. Dasuli, is everything all right? You seem a bit different today. As she asked that question, I broke into tears. She listened and said, "If that's your problem, you should listen to my story. When I first started my career as a lawyer, I had to face lots of obstacles just because I was scared to speak in English. But still, every single day I tried. I watched English movies, I took classes, and today I have no fear of speaking English. Don't let your fears master yourself, Dasuni. Be your own master." I looked at her story and realized the way she overcame her fears. I also want to give that chance to myself as well. So I happened to see the speech contest which was organized by the Gavel Club of University of Wijeyarathne. I applied. Preliminaries were the toughest. I worked so hard. But I did not think that I will get selected as there were so many good speakers. When the results came, I happened to hear that I have been selected for the semis. I felt so happy, but at the same time, I was scared. I did not want to go. But my teacher, Miss Sashini, helped me out. So this time, I worked so hard. And I spoke. As I was enjoying the rest of the evening, I got a phone call from my teacher. "Dasuri, you know what? You have been selected for the finals." I felt so happy and confident as I was progressing on defeating my fears. On the day of grand finale, in front of 200 plus audience, in a ballroom of a big hotel, I spoke. Ladies and gentlemen, I did not become the champion, but I championed my fears. And today, I'm speaking in front of 100 plus audience simply because of the way I overcame my fears. Ladies and gentlemen, we all have fears. It may be expressing yourself or speaking another language, or it can be something simple as lighting a small matchstick. But what is more important is there's no such thing as small or huge fears. Either it is small or huge, it has a great impact on our lives. It can make our dreams only dreams. 4 years ago, I was looking at people up and down, questioning myself. But today, I'm a confident speaker. And few months back, I was embarrassed just because I couldn't light a matchstick. But today, I can. Simply because of the way I overcame my fears. If I can do it, if my aunt can do it, we all can do it. Never let your fears master yourself. Be your own master. Over to you.
We will now have a minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1 minute has lapsed. Now let us welcome contestant number 2. Contestant, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Contestant, can you see the timing cards?
Yes, I can.
Chief Judge, are the judges ready to go?
Yes, please go ahead.
Timer, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Contestant, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Ganeshini Sridharan, facing your roach. Facing your roach, Ganeshini Sridharan.
Imagine you're in a room and you are all alone, except for this cockroach sitting there on the wall. Now, seems okay. It's minding its own business, you're minding your own. You have this mutual understanding established. You say, "Dear cockroach, please stay in your corner. I'll be in mine. Let's just not cross each other's paths, shall we?" Contest chair, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to make a very important comparison between a regular cockroach and one that could fly. because clearly they're not the same. Now, a regular cockroach just sits there on the wall. The one that could fly doesn't. A regular cockroach just minds its own business. A one that could fly doesn't. A regular cockroach flies away from you when it gets scared. The one that could fly doesn't. In fact, it does the opposite. A regular cockroach is not gifted with the ability to fly. The one that could fly is also not gifted with the ability to fly, but does it anyways. I know this because I am dead scared of cockroaches, which I'm embarrassed to say out loud. I have this disaster management kit that consists of 3 things. 1, a Mortein spray. 2, a broomstick. 3, my father. So whenever there is a cockroach emergency, I employ my disaster management kit and I'll get rid of it. Except later on, I ditched the Mortein spray because it seemed a little inhumane to kill something that just chose to fly past me. So most of the time, my father will be having to come to the rescue. Now you can say that he grew a little tired of this whole cockroach ordeal, that one day he decided to give me a piece of advice. So he caught this cockroach and held it right in front of my face and asked, "Do you see what you are afraid of?" I said, "There, I'm afraid of the cockroach." And he said, "Correct. You are afraid of a tiny insect. The day when you address your fear for this insect is the day when you'll face one. And that goes to all fears you'll be facing throughout your life." Now I agreed, because I didn't want a cockroach being held in front of my face for too long. But then I did think about it. Now when we're afraid, we tend to do one of these 2 things. 1, we do not address our fears. We simply ignore or deny that we are afraid of it. But then when we are facing a fear, we do not know how to react. Which brings me to the second thing that we do when we are afraid, and that is, we do not address our fears right. Now, what does that mean? It means that we hold a bloated, intimidating image of our fear in our heads, but in reality, it's of something very simple. Example, my fear of cockroach. Now I have something else that I'm afraid of as well, and that is my fear of public speaking. You can say that I am mortified by the act of speaking in front of people. Believe me or not, I haven't done a single performance on stage throughout my school. It is something that I passionately avoided. So I had to get rid of this fear somehow. So I decided to put my father's advice to the test. So one day I was in my room, I was minding my own business, and I see this cockroach making an entry. It flew right across the room and landed on a wall. I stood up, manned myself, and went right up to the cockroach and said, "Dear cockroach, you defined my identity this whole time. Not anymore. I'm going to catch you." And I caught him right there with my bare hands. Except that I didn't. I fled again. But I know exactly where I've gone wrong. Did you catch it? Well, if you didn't, hear me out. I took this bug so seriously that I thought it defined my identity, while in reality, it's of some simple insect trying to survive an urban household. It doesn't care. Now, you might say that the fear of cockroach is more of a basic human survival instinct, and you're absolutely right. But then there are other things that we are afraid of that has nothing to do with our survival. And one such thing is public speaking. What are you afraid of? Talking? See, that's how you address it. At this very moment, I feel like I hold the key to face any fears throughout my life. And if I could feel the same, I know you could too. You only need to do two things. One, look at your fears. Two, look at them just the way they are. Let it be your fear of responsibilities. Let it be your fear of examinations. Let it be your fear of mathematics. Let it be your fear of an insect flying towards you. Let it be your fear of writing a mathematics examination while an insect flying towards you. It works all the same. Contest share.
We will now have a minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1 minute has lapsed. Now let us welcome contestant number 3. Contestant, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Contestant, can you see the timing cards?
Yes.
Chief Judge, are the judges ready to go? Chief Judge, are the judges ready? Okay. Time,
Okay,
are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Contestant, are you ready?
Yes.
Ishani Senadipate, little do we choose. Little do we choose. Ishani Senadipate.
You on a date with your soulmate. You two go to a nice 5-star hotel near Gol Road. Delicious spaghetti with 2 glasses of wine is on the table. And suddenly, the soulmate holds your hand and leans over. And the alarm goes off. And you think to yourself, why did I set the alarm at 5 in the morning? This is just another day spending 24 hours inside the house. And then you remember, last night you made a whole new plan to start studying from today onwards. Now, you have 2 choices. Either to get up from bed and finally start that study plan, or continue that dream. What would you choose? Contestia, panel of judges, ladies and gentlemen. Obviously, the dream. And without even knowing, you are out for another 3 to 4 hours in a deep sleep. And then you finally wake up regretting not starting that study plan. And to make yourself feel better, you think to yourself again, tomorrow is the day I'm finally going to start studying. And the rest you know, the cycles goes on. Now, if this has ever happened to you, you are not alone, my friend. People say that sometimes we have to make big choices that will decide our future lives. Choosing your LOS subject, choosing your life partner, choosing your career. Yes, those big choices do impact our life indeed. But have you ever wondered the gravity of your day-to-day choices? The little choices you make, starting from waking up, again going to bed. Have you ever wondered what those choices do to your life? No, right? Then hear me out. Remember the day you start to watch Netflix episode over your marketing course on Google Garage? Or the day you ate that delicious cheese without going according to your diet? That one teeny tiny choice of yours became a habit, right? And that habit became the way you live it. And without even knowing, you got lazier and lazier, fatter and fatter. The day you start to watch YouTube videos at midnight rather than sleeping, how to lose weight in one day, or that random guy telling you the 10 basics of drinking water, or that cute cat video. 1 became 2, 2 became 3, 3 became 30. You got dark circles, puffy eyes, dry skin, you name it, you have it. And let's be honest, YouTube is one of the least concerns. Do I really have to remind the dedicated hours you put into WhatsApp, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram? There's nothing useful there, but still, you scroll for hours and hours and hours, even if you have 10 assignments to complete. And I bet you will check your phone right after this speech. Why? Again, that one teeny tiny choice became a habit, and that habit became the way you live it. Now, you can see how powerful is that one teeny tiny choice. It literally can destroy your life. And the interesting part is that you don't even know when you first started your life. Now, the big question, how to change all this? Simple. Change your choice. Start choosing the choice you normally take. Choose that study plan, that online course, that diet. Get enough sleep, and it'll break the habit, and that will eventually lead to change the way you live it. Remember, I said simple, not easy. The first choice you're going to make will be the hardest one ever. The second will be the same. Third, again, the same. But if you keep up with it, you will get there. You know you will get there. Now, you might think this girl must have achieved so much to give all this wisdom. But actually, it's quite the opposite. I'm just a girl who's struggling to make the right choice, just like you. The day I overslept and got late for my online exams was the day I decided to take my choices more seriously. Here's the thing. Deep down, we all know that we are making the wrong choice at the end of the day. So let's break that habit. Let's change that choice. In fact, this is our life we are talking about, guys, our lives. So let's not dream the life. Let's live the life. Now, let me ask you one more time. Dream or that study plan? The choice is yours. Over to you.
We will now have a minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, The 1 minute has lapsed. Now let us welcome contestant number 4. Contestant, am I audible to you?
Yes.
Contestant, can you see the timing cards?
Yes, I can.
Chief Judge, are the judges ready to proceed?
Yes.
Timer, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Contestant, are you ready?
Yes.
Myra Sukumaran, step, trip, fall, repeat. Step, trip, fall, repeat. Myra Sukumaran.
Everyone makes mistakes in life. Some people remember it, some forget it, and some don't even know it. Contest chair and my fellow members who have surpassed all the mistakes and successfully logged into Zoom. Now, I fall in a very unique category of people where mistakes don't just happen in my life, but my entire life is just mistakes. It's a sequence of mistakes again and again with gaps for me to struggle and survive. When I look back at my life, it'll be easy to count the right decisions I've made because there aren't many of them. As young as a 6-year-old, mistakes have haunted me. Now, how many of you had your own friend groups when you were young? Your little cliques, gang? Yeah, most of you. I did not have any of that. When your life is a mistake, most people will want to run away from you, let alone be your friend. So, ladies and gentlemen, with the greatest difficulty, I managed to make this one girl, Indu, my friend. I basically did everything and bribed her to be with me. Not even serious issues, ladies and gentlemen. She trusted me with a piece of cake for 15 minutes. And I couldn't resist it. Gobbled the piece of cake and lost my only friendship. Now, most of you would learn from this mistake and never do something stupid like that again, right? I was the exact opposite. Every time I had to choose between friends and food, I blindly chose food and lost all my friends. Not all mistakes sound as funny as I spoke before. And as I grew older, I started making more and more mistakes, and more people blamed me for making bad choices. From O-levels to A-levels was a big jump for me. A time when most of us are confused and make life-changing mistakes. I was a typical Sri Lankan girl that a mother would be proud of. I chose the science stream and I wanted to enter medicine. Now, first month into A-levels, I did all my homeworks, sat on the first row, didn't even blink when the teacher spoke, and everything was on track. From the second month, I started doing dancing, went for debating, moved to the second, third, then last row, and barely even opened my eyes when the teacher spoke. Trying to cram everything within the last few months did not work very well. And when results came out, I realized I wasn't going to enter medicine. Now I thought, I'll correct my mistakes, take another year, repeat the exams to pursue my dream to be a doctor in a hospital. Half of the world told me that I was wrong. I should not repeat and move into another field. But I didn't want to give up that last chance to enter the medical field. So I decided to ignore all the blames and I repeated A-levels with much more focus and put more effort. Now, I'm super worried about all those aunties in the neighborhood whispering about me to each other. And all my friends who have applied or got into universities. I open my results and I see that I've got a much higher grade, but not
just enough for medicine. Now the other half of the world that was okay with me repeating also pointed fingers at me and blamed me for taking the chance. The risk that for something that I was passionate about. The toughest part about making mistakes is that society blames you for making decisions for your own self, even if it doesn't hurt anyone else. Little did I know that rejections are always redirections to something better. I was directed to UCSC, which was a big world of technology with great opportunities. However, each situation had something to blame me for. Drama after drama kept making me feel more and more foolish every single day. And at one point, I thought my life was just meant to be a fail story for others to talk about. And then one day, I came across an interview of one of Sri Lanka's most known personalities, Ottara Gunawardena, better known as the founder of Odale and Embark. And I looked at the various comments and blames that people keep dumping on her. Right from the beginning, where she stepped into a career of fashion and modeling, she was blamed for choosing a career that wasn't accepted by the society at that time. Someone or the other always had something to complain about. Random people on the road were complaining about her divorce. And I distinctly remember her saying in that interview, "Women do face challenges, but I don't cling on to those barriers. I focus on my goal and keep moving forward." She also said, "There's no use in talking about changes and complaining about situations. You have to prove yourself and be the change you want to be." We are blamed for every decision we make. Especially as women, we are blamed 2 times more. If I wear something short, I'm a slut. If it's too long, I'm a nerd. If she's a housewife, she's useless. If she works and earns, she's bossy. If she's quiet, she's dumb. If she's talkative, she's annoying. And the list of blames are never ending. Clinging on to these complaints will never let you achieve your potential. At the end of the day, it is your life, and you are free enough to make as many mistakes as you want. Blunder will help you build a much stronger and a more organized future. No one has the right to judge you because no one really knows what you've been through. Do not worry about the people who talk behind your back. They are behind you for a reason. Contest chair, forget the blames and love your life. Over to you.
We will now have a minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1 minute has lapsed. Now let us welcome contestant number 5. Contestant, am I I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Contestant, can you see the timing cards?
Yes.
Chief Judge, are the judges ready to proceed?
Yes.
Timer, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Contestant, are you ready?
Yes.
Hirudini Vikramanayaka, day after tomorrow will be beautiful. Day after tomorrow will be beautiful. Hirudini Vikramanayaka.
Insi, Binsi, Spider Kakaka. Hirudini, please stop. I don't know how many times I have told you to avoid stammering. Let me tell you one thing. If stammering was an art, you would be the master of it. Dear contestant, fellow contestants, this was just another typical day of my life. Back then, when I was a little kid, when I was in my primary school. Let me take you back to my childhood to give you more insight. Back then, my life was not so cooler, but definitely tougher when compared to an average kid. Well, now I can read your mind. You will probably think, how would the life be so difficult and miserable for a 9-year-old kid? Let me tell you why. How many of us had occasionally one teacher who always nitpicks you? Well, in my case, my English teacher. Whenever she saw me, she used to utter her favorite sentence about me. Hirudini, if stammering was an art, you would be the master of it. So you guessed it right. I hate my English period because no matter how much I strive to recite this incy spider poem, each time I stammered, I failed, and I was bullied in front of my own friends. On the flip side, though I hate my English period, I loved my dancing period. Let me tell you why. Back then, I used to close my eyes. I dreamt myself performing in front of massive audience as a dancer so that I could get over the love and attention from them. Having said that, I didn't want to be a mere daydreamer. I wanted my wishes to be granted at any cost. So, when I got entered to a new school, I determined to myself, Hirudini, you will make your dream a reality at any cost. The most awaited day finally arrived. The day our school dancing teachers auditioned us as to assess whether we are good enough as dancers to represent our school. That day, I thought I nailed the performance. The very next day, I received my results that I got disqualified. I was upset, and I got even more upset after knowing that the reason behind my disqualification was the fact that I didn't carry a slim figure. This depressed feeling over getting worried about myself came to the peak point the moment I discovered that I was diagnosed with polycystic ovarian syndrome. Well, that simply means throughout my life, I will be in this plus size owing to a hormonal imbalance. And this is exactly 5 years later that it had been revealed that my stammering issue was accrued from my family history of stammering. That moment, I realized throughout my life, at different paces, I was rejected, bullied, body shamed, disqualified because of the way I look, because of the way I speak, all of which I have no control. I felt that this life is so tough and it is getting tougher day by day, and there's no beauty embedded here. Nevertheless, there was this one person who knew all the dramas and tough situations I was going through in my life.
He was none other than my late grandfather. One day, he came in front of me, asked this one question which changed my life upside down. He came straight in front of me and asked, "Daughter, can you remember your childhood favorite poem, Incy Spider?" I was looking at my grandfather just to make sure that he was not joking, because each and every member of my family knew how much I hate Incy Spider poem because of the bitter memory I have with it. But when I looked at his eyes, I knew that he was not joking. Then I recited the poem. Incy Spider climbed up the water spout, down again the rain. So poor Incy threw out again the sunshine, and dried up all the rain. So Incy Spider climbed up the spout again. Grandfather, what's wrong with you? You know how much I hate this poem. My grandfather, looking at me with his sharp yet calming eyes, replied, "Here then, leave the past in the past. Remember, daughter, this life is all about climbing that spout again. Be that Incy Spider, no matter how many times it fails, it never gives up. Because today is tough, tomorrow will be tougher. But if we don't give up, the day after tomorrow will be beautiful." That piece of advice completely altered my life upside down. From that moment onwards, whatever the obstacle, whatever the setback, in whatever the form it came, I believe that the day after tomorrow will be beautiful, no matter how harsh and tough today and tomorrow are. Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm very proudly standing in front of you as a dreamer, dancer, speaker, addressing larger audiences than I have imagined in my childhood dreams. Only because that I believed that the day after tomorrow will be beautiful if I don't give up. Last but not least, dear contestants, when you leave today's Zoom meeting or the Facebook Live, trust me, you will encounter immense setbacks and obstacles which will make you feel that today is tough and tomorrow will be getting even tougher. But don't let that feeling to give yourself up. Be that Incy Spider. Today is tough, tomorrow will be tougher, but the day after tomorrow will be beautiful. Over to you.
We will now have a minute of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, the 1 minute has lapsed. Now let us welcome contestant number 6. Contestant, am I audible to you?
Yes, you are.
Contestant, can you see the timing cards?
Yes, I can.
Chief Judge, are the judges ready to proceed?
Yes, please go ahead.
Timer, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Contestant, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Ramalka, Khasige, Manasi, Shashi and Parul. Manasi, Shashi and Parul, Ramalka, Khasige.
Welcome back with foreign news. The sudden imposition of lockdown in India threw lives of millions of children into chaos. 3 children have been reported dead, having no food for 9 days. Madam Contestia, ladies and gentlemen, as soon as I heard this, I rushed to our TV room. It gave me the greatest shock in my life, seeing the news featuring video where hundreds of street children running behind a food truck begging for food. Is this something real? Or am I watching a part of a movie? I came back to my original senses when the news anchor continued and revealed the names of the 3 children as Manasi, Shashi and Parul. Some time went by and this tragic incident was literally forgotten to me. Then came the end of our quarantine break and curfew was relaxed. So I was at this pastry shop waiting in line to buy my favorite packet of wine drops. Finally, I got one. As soon as I stepped out of the shop, a girl came running towards me. I have seen a little beggar girl go by in all the cold. She had no shoes, no stockings on. Her dress was torn and old. The girl recalled me of the Little Beggar Girl poem by H.P. Nicholas, which I used to study for my elocution exam those days. The girl stood still, holding her dirty palm to me. The hand was quite trembling. She had no mask to cover her nose and mouth. Yet I bent down to see who she was and saw a ray of hope in her eyes. What are you up to? Are you planning to give this packet of biscuits to this poor fellow? Come on, you were waiting to buy this for the last 3 months. And mind you, this is the last packet of biscuits sold in the shop. A voice was suddenly ringing in my ears. I swear you, it's not my inner voice. A thought struck me as I remembered the 3 street kids who died in India, and I did not want this girl to be another Manasi or Parul. So I gave her the only packet of biscuits I had in my hand. She was thrilled and ran towards her little brother, who was waiting in the blazing sun for a precious meal. As I walked away, I felt so relieved, despite the fact that I won't be able to taste my favorite biscuits for the next few days, or maybe months. Ladies and gentlemen, is this story only belong to me, or do you have a counterpart of it? Are you going to say no? Hey friends, you are lying to me. Because while you were walking in the streets, while you were waiting outside the cinema, I hope you can remember those little Manasis and Paruls who came to you. Those were the moments that your hand went deep down to your pocket and pulled out a 5 rupees coin to chase them and hide your popcorn. Those were the moments that you completely ignored their gestures, no matter how much you knew that hunger is a mutual feeling common to all of us. How can you continue to live in such mass denial, being a part of this community? Now, hearing me out, some of you might come up with Facebook campaigns, hashtag campaigns, which aren't always not worthwhile when it comes to tackling these kinds of issues, because the solution should always be thoughtful and impactful for them. Your likes, shares, and reactions will never turn into grains of rice for Manasis and Paruls out there. Well, I'm not expensive for your social media campaigns. It's good to see people being concerned for social issues around us. But at the same time, you need to realize the reality of how these children exist, rather than you just sympathizing them whenever you encounter them on social media or on television. If you ever got the chance to encounter those trembling hands and eyes filled with hope, you would have realized that little beggar girl whom I met had hope and aspiration to live. If any one of us had ever met Manasi, Shashi, or Parul beforehand, they would have reminded us that they too are human beings with feelings like hunger, and the path that led them to starve and die in streets was not of their choice. Their stories may go hidden with time. They would not be the next breaking news that you would hear tomorrow. But that doesn't mean that you and I are too late to take that simple initiative to make the lives of these street children a better one. Seize this moment and think for yourself that what you have done for them and what you can really do for them. Then one fine day, you will definitely realize, my friend, that your utmost concern for the basic needs of all humankind mattered a lot to heal those saddened souls like Manasi, Shashi, and Parul. As Mother Teresa once said, not all of us can do great things, but we can do small things with great love. So let's start from that small initiative from today onwards. Madam Contest Chair, are you ready for that? Then over to you.
We will now have 3 minutes of silence for the judges to mark their ballot. Ladies and gentlemen, it was a fabulous contest and I thoroughly enjoyed being the contest chair for the final round of Oration 2020 today. I hope you enjoyed the contest too. I'd like to thank all the contestants and contest officials for an excellent job. The hosts of the ceremony, over to you.
Thank you, Gavali Vimuktini, for doing a great job as the contest chair. Now, the Zoom master has opened a breakout room for tally counting. I kindly request the judges and the tally counters to accept the request to enter the breakout room.
Ladies and gentlemen, the talent in this Zoom call is astronomical. I'm sure we were all very entertained by each speaker and that their messages to us will remain in our minds. Congratulations to all our finalists on a job well done and an audience well impressed. Thank you to our contest chair and timer for their flawless execution of the proceedings. Now, it's time for some entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, join me in a virtual round of applause, inviting Ashen Ranavira to the screen to entertain you all with the universal language of unity, music.
Check, test.
Thank you, Ashen. Next up on the agenda, we have a special guest, our keynote speaker, who graciously agreed to be here today. We are beyond honored and delighted to introduce to you our keynote speaker for today, a trailblazer in her own right, Mrs. Kasturi Chellaraja Wilson. Mrs. Chellaraja Wilson made history by being the first female group CEO of a public quoted conglomerate in Sri Lanka, Hemas Holdings, effective from the 1st of October 2020. Effective 1st July 2020, Mrs. Chellaraja Wilson also assumed duties as the non-executive director of Hemas Holdings. She was recognized as being one of the 12 top women changemakers in the country in 2019 by the Parliament of Sri Lanka and USAID. Her long list of accolades speak for herself, and we are excited to hear from her today. Please join us with a virtual round of applause and welcome Mrs. Kasturi Chellaraja Wilson to the screen.
Hi everyone. I think you have your Chancellor here, Vice Chancellor Professor Chandrika Wijeyarathne, who is the chief guest, and the other university faculty who are online, and of course all the young graduates who are orators and who are taking part today. Firstly, I must congratulate all of you for taking part in this and doing it so well. So I must tell you one thing about me is that I hated public speaking, and I think I suck at it. But in school, when I was a school games captain for the entire school, so at the sports meet, you need to be able to give a speech. And I gave up my badge. I went to the principal and said, I'll give up my badge because I didn't want to be giving a speech. So that's how much I didn't like it. And fast track, about so many years later at Hemas, they started the Toastmaster, and I actually thought I'll benefit by it, and I've started it. After 2 rounds, 2 days, I said, look, I'm giving up, because I found that so difficult. So seeing all of y'all, I think y'all are amazing and y'all are bold, and I think it's amazing that y'all can do this. So I was thinking how I should address you, and I really am struggling how to speak because it's a virtual thing and I can't interact, and generally I speak better when I interact with people. So I'm at the moment in Kogala. I had promised to come out with some friends, so I've managed to get some signal in the admin room of the hotel. So I'll start about a journey, because you all are young and you all are in university. And remember, I guess now more than before, there's a lot of pressure of doing well, and also you all want more for yourself. During our time, yes, people did want careers, but I think the pressure was not too much. So what I'm trying to say is, look, the world will evolve. Don't try to pressure yourself to choose a path, but make sure you focus on being excellent. So with that, I'll try to tell you what excellence means to me and my life story. Excellence it's an attitude. It's not something you will just learn from a classroom, right? It's an attitude. It's a passion you get. Passion of what you want to, whatever you do, you want to do well. It's also the commitment you have. It's a sense of being bold. One thing I've been told wherever I work and whatever role I play is that I'm fearless and I'm bold, but I think that I got from my sports field. And there's one thing I'll urge everybody of you all to do is find your sense, what I call is your USP. Remember, in a hand, you have 5 fingers which are different sizes, right? And different sizes, and they all have a different purpose. It's like a sports team. Each one has to play a role. So you need to figure out what you're good at. Don't worry what your neighbor is good at or what your friend is good at, because each of us has a own unique path. So my thing is why I think I have, I wouldn't use the word succeeded. I've achieved a certain thing in life, or I've got certain roles, is because I'm really passionate of being excellent. B is I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And it takes a lot because with society. So if you look at my childhood, I came from a very middle class family. I had a sister and me, and we had a house in Vallapata that was a property my father's inherited, and we had a roof over our head. But beyond that, money was tough because my father didn't work. He used to be an alcoholic, and then my mother was the one who actually did about three jobs just to educate my sister and me. However, as kids, all I remember is I was outside. I was playing, I was in school, I was doing all the sports. And very early on in life, in school, since I was very good at sports, I realized I was valuable. And I didn't become good in sports overnight. So when I loved it, so I really loved it, right? When I loved it, I would, if it's basketball, remember, our coach would say, do 1,000 shots, do 1,000 dribbles up and down, turn the ball through your knees, whichever. I would do it. I'd mark it on a book, and some would just mark it and not do. For me, I thought, okay, if I do the 1,000th shot, I would be working towards being the best. So that's what you mean, the commitment of doing things the tough, hard way. And when I'm a Tamil. I was in the Tamil medium. So 1983, during the riots, half of my class, actually not half, 3/4 of my class went off to either Jaffna or Canada or any part out of Sri Lanka, right? And we were left with me and another girl in HFC in grade 9 to form this O-level Tamil class. So we managed to finish off O-level, and I wanted to do, so I didn't have an ambition. I'll be very honest, right? I didn't have an ambition, but I liked the subjects. I knew what subjects I was good at. So I was good at math, I was good at science, I was useless at accounts, or I didn't even try accounts. Even at O-levels, I did art because I thought I can't study any more subjects. So basically, I chose double maths, physics, chemistry. And there was no class. It was only me. The other girl chose commerce. So after O-levels, of course, some people came back from Jaffna and stuff, and you had a science class, but you didn't have a maths class. And at that point, I told my principal, I might have to leave. Good Shepherd wanted me to join them because they wanted me to play netball and basketball for them. And Sister Charles said, no, you're not leaving. Don't worry. Even if it's for one student, I'll figure it out. So I realized I was valuable. So that my USP was there. Then in my passion, while I was doing A-levels, I did all 3 sports. I was doing my athletics, I was doing my netball, I was doing my basketball, and I found time for it. And I found time to study as well. Of course, in hindsight, I guess I could have spent a bit more time on studies, and maybe my outcome would have been different. But I didn't defocus on anything, put it that way. So that's the passion. When you have passion for something, you have to accommodate and do what's needed on the rest. So that's how when you realize a USP, you kind of do stuff, right? You think people kind of accommodate you. So on a commitment type point of view, so these are the lessons I'm kind of teach you, what kind of humor, what kind of things relate to commitment. So I remember when I was born in January. So there, when you finish doing your A-levels, you actually can do an extra year, and you can play for school an extra year. So the last year I was playing under another girl called Christina. And my mother wrote this lovely letter to sister and said, Kasturi has done so much for school. Can you please allow her to study? And I thought, okay. So my principal asked me, what can you do, Kasturi? Because the netball coach also was very old and sick. So I used to go to my tuition classes, because at that time I had to eventually, 6 months before my exam, I had to learn to think. So my engineering, my maths was taught to me in English in school by the Sinhalese teacher. And so I had to, for 6 months, I had to read the Tamil paper and learn to understand that math problem in the Tamil in the Tamil words in my brain. So it's different. It's like reading a question in English and understanding, and reading a question in Sinhalese and understanding. So, but I would go for my tuition class. I would tell my teacher, look, I'll do these sums, and I run off to school without telling my mother. I'll practice with the girls because I didn't want to let the team down. They were under another captain. I was playing under them for the last year. And that was what commitment was. So sometimes you really have to do things where morally you feel you've done right by the team. So, and one time you need to also be bold. You need to stand up for yourself. You need to, you may be feeling you're timid, but in you have some boldness. So again, in school, one time when my games teacher was actually sick in hospital, I had, as a school netball captain, I had to train all 3 teams to take part in the district tournament. And the old girls would try to come and practice, and that was good. But what was not good was there were 2 old girls who were really scolding and disrupting practices. So I went and told Sister Charles, if you want me to take the practices, please ban the old girls from school for these 3 months, because I can't control them, but they're disrupting practice. And of course, I was not the favorite of the old girls, but Sister Charles did agree, and we did win our tournament. So fast track, when I finished A-levels, within the first week, I got a postcard from this audit firm to play netball for them and recruit them. So I didn't know anything about auditing, but I mean, I remember the first time I went into auditing and they were teaching me a bank rec, and I was trying to understand in a bank statement as a consumer, a debit is an expense or a charge, and a credit is money coming in. But in an accounting sense, it's opposite. So I had a time understanding what all this meant. But by my quality of learning everything and trying to do well in everything, I wanted to know everything. So I would ask the most dumbest questions, I guess, for somebody. And that's how I learned the basics of auditing. But I was recruited to play netball, I must say. So in the meantime, that time you had all these ragging and universities closed. This is the 1989, 90s period. And finally, my results came. I missed engineering and I got physical science. And I came to Colombo University for all of one day. Before that, my sister had got into Morato University, and she got dragged so badly. And after the 4th day, she had to be hospitalized and she gave up university. So I'm coming from that background. So I walked into Colombo University, and I'm sure this guy was not trying to harm me, but he said, you come here, and he kind of pointed the finger. And I looked behind me and I thought, okay, and then it was me. And I walked off. So that's the first time I gave up on anything in life. And I just felt so guilty because my mother struggled to look after us. All she asked from me is to get qualified so that I can be financially independent if the need arises. She never pushed us for a career, and nor did I ever want a career, I must say. So at that time, I decided I needed to do something, and I was headhunted by Hatton National Bank again to play netball. But I was good in my work. I had got promoted to a senior auditor or something like that at that time. And I walked up to my boss and said, I've got a job at HNB and I'm going. So now I would have been earning like 2,000 rupees at that level, and HNB was offering 10,000. So I wanted to study. Now I didn't have, even though we had a roof and we didn't have excess money even to pay for my education, because when my sister got dragged, we had to sell the little land we have and send her overseas. So my boss said, you're not going. You better do some accounting because you're good at it. So I said, okay, but I don't have the money. Then he said, no, the company would pay for it. So that's another thing. So sometimes if you work at being excellent in whatever you do, and you have that drive, and people see that you are not trying to be lazy, you have the passion to succeed, and they would step in. And actually my company paid for my education, but that doesn't mean I took life so easy. I mean, I didn't think it was taken for granted, and the condition was I had to pass every exam first time. So I did CIMA. I tried chartered, and I found the class a bit too boring, but I did CIMA. And eventually, I'm a typical day to show what hard work would be. So we didn't own a car at that time. So my hard work would be like get up at 5:30. I have to be at either Good Shepherd or at Independence to train for the national pool. I was playing for the national team by that time. And by about 10 o'clock, you have a shower and you go to work. And then by 3 o'clock or 2 o'clock, you're back on the pool at pool practice. And at 5:30, I go for my CIMA classes, right? All this by bus. Actually, one time I owned a small of those bikes, those Chelly bikes, and I almost died in it, and then I sold that was gone. So CIMA classes, and by about 8:30, you take another bus and go home. And you start the next day the same way. Now when I look at it, I have two sons, and I'm sure they would have been complaining about it if they had to do it for more than a week. But I don't think I ever complained, because I loved what I do. So that's the secret. Whatever, you wouldn't know what you would be good at or what you love. So it's okay to try something you're traditionally not supposed to try. And if you love it, that's really good. So, but at 22, I just decided, I was working at SOM restaurant. I worked, and it was not a big pressure job and stuff. I got married, and then I got pregnant, which I wanted. I wanted to have I want to be a mom. And I marched up to my boss and said, okay, I'm pregnant, I'm leaving. And he said, look, you have not even had your baby, and why are you giving up? And it was really wise words from him. Otherwise, I would have been foolish. So sometimes you're foolish, but there would be people who are wiser than you, and it may be good to listen to them sometimes. So I actually waited on, and I enjoyed my motherhood, where I would work from home throughout. They would send the files. I was an audit manager by then. And the thing is, I didn't really have a full-time career, but I didn't get out of a career. And I did what I wanted most. That was to be a mom and enjoy those moments. So some wouldn't want it, and that's fine. Some would want to have a career. That's fine. So I was one of those ones who, in some ways, wanted to have a good life, but lacked this ambition of pushing myself on a career. But I wanted to push myself on other stuff. So eventually, by 26, I was a mother of two. Then by that time, I would drop my elder one at Montessori, go to work and pick him up and come back home. So that's how I kind of structured it. But at 29, 30, I became a single mom. So at that point, I had to take a call of going into full-time career for simple reason. I wanted to give my kids a better life than me. And I had to do whatever I could within my capacity and my talents to do that. So I remember every job. I mean, the first full-time job I went was to a courier company called Aramex Airborne Lanka, and that was an Arab boss at that time. And I told him I'm a mom and I'm a single mom. So there are times I would have to go off for things, pick them up, but my work was good. And it's not words. So that's what I want to tell you. When you're committed, it's not only words, it has to be action. So I remember that time we were going through automation. I would go pick my kids, put them at home, feed them, or watch their homework or whatever. And by about, that's around 3 o'clock. But then at 7 o'clock, I'm back at office. And I'm doing all the work, and the automation was seamless. And it was, so they realized the commitment. And I remember another thing is that there are things which when they say you can't do, so when the automation Sri Lanka, they said they can't do automation Sri Lanka because nobody knows how to move such a manual system in. I said, no, we can do it. Because remember, doing auditing without knowing the double entry was good, because I had to learn it from every essence of a double entry, the practical side, which really helped me a lot. So whatever you all are doing, I would urge you all to ask questions, understand the underlying drivers, whichever career you all do, because that's what helps you to ask the right questions later. So going forward, I worked there for 3 years, and I then went to Confifi. Confifi, I worked as a financial controller. My job lasted only 1 year. I walked out. That was the only time I walked out from a job without having another job, because I didn't like the value system. And I told them in 1 year, in 6 months with the job, I said in 1 year I'm walking out. It was a gamble I took, and I don't think I would have done that if I was more mature. I would have found another job and gone. But I think there was a God also who had been protecting me right across. So, and within a week, I got the job at HEMA. So that was a point I always remember, because remember, you have to be true to your values. Don't compromise stuff because there's pressure, and but how you take action about it is something left to you. But through my life, I always knew what makes me happy or what makes me fulfilled. That doesn't mean I was not happy. I would have been unhappy many times. Remember, in social society, I'm mindful there are boys and girls here, but our society is brought up in a way that a divorcee or a single mom is not looked in favorable eyes. And it's like a stigma to go as a divorcee. So you go through that. I went through that. And I mean, in some ways I would say I'm Kasturi, and then they'll say, okay, and what does your husband do? And I'm like, for a moment, I used to even stop to think, do I say I'm divorced and get this stigma again from people? Then I take a deep breath and say, yeah, no, I'm divorced. And then the next thing is, oh, I'm so sorry about it. And I'm like, no, it's okay. Don't be sorry about it. But so that's society. Sometimes in good intention, sometimes, but it's tough on you, right? So I joined HEMAS in 2002, and I'll quickly take you through my career there. So I started in finance. That was my core and what I was good at. But I must tell you, it's not the most exciting job. It can be boring. So in finance, from finance GM, I got promoted as a director of finance. Then in 3 years, they told me to set up shared service for the entire group. So that became my first group role. Then I did that, but setting shared service means you have to make yourself redundant quickly because they have to run independently. So secret is I learned very early because I needed to make my people who worked with me better than me and to work independently so that I would go back home to my kids early. So I had an inner thing of my kids were the first thing. They were the most important thing in my life. So I would work. I needed the salary. I would be grateful to the company who gave me that job. But I'll make everybody work much more efficiently. So I'll teach them. I will guide them. I'll give the credit to them because I don't need any credit. And I would want to go home early. So I was one of those they knew who wouldn't work late. I would be running off by 4 because my work is done. And if somebody says, why did you work late? I said, I don't want to be inefficient. If I'm working late till 7 or 8, something is wrong with the way I'm doing my work. So from there, they put me into running after shared services. I went and told my boss I was a bit bored. And they told me to run the group IT and process for the group and shared services. So they gave me 3 areas. And I'm not an IT person at all. I would barely know if computer crashes, what's happening inside that. But my boss told me, that time Hussein was my boss. He told me, Kasturi, you know what? You have such a good business sense and you see things through. Why don't you get IT to work for you and get the business benefit? So which is true. Now, if you see global companies, very few CIOs are techies. They are business people. But that was what was given to me. And really, I didn't see my talent. He did see my talent and he pushed me. So the thing was you needed to learn to work with people who were better than you or more technically qualified. I didn't know. So that comfort. So you don't need to, when you grow in your leadership, you need to believe that you should be confident enough to be okay that the people who work with you might be better than you in technicality. And it's not you being better or them being better. There is a structure, and you need to learn to respect them and work with them. So that was my job as CPO. Then I moved, the first business role in 2011 was to go as the MD of transportation sector. That was overlooking maritime logistics and aviation. And that was something I was like, I have never run a business. And remember, that was and for me, moving from a functional role, that is like finance and IT, where you can go home and not worry about things unless the computer, disaster is happening. Moving into a business role where you have to constantly be on the ball was a big shift, because my kids were growing. Can I do this? And again, it was my boss. This time he didn't give me a choice to think. He first said, think about it. And I thought about it and said no. And then he said, I'm sorry, I've made up my decision. You better move. So, but I enjoyed it, because another thing which I struggled with, everybody who was reporting to me was easily 9 or 10 years older than me at the new role. And they did come and ask me, Kasturi, now you're here, but we're wondering, I don't take offense. They were very mature. They said, don't get offended. But I wonder why you have been selected and none of us got the opportunity. So I said, look, I'm glad you told me this. Give me 6 months. If you don't see value in me, let's talk about it. So, but in 6 months, before 6 months, actually, they came and said that we understand why you have been put in here as a leader and you brought the best out of them, which was true. I think what I brought to the table, which I learned from playing sports and playing with, for the Sri Lankan team, with people from different races, different social backgrounds, is to work with people, to understand what each person's skill is. Because to win in corporate or in sports, you should have diverse people with different skills to come together to win. If we were all accountants, we'll be looking at something in one way. And that is definitely going to be the failure of that company. Diversity, as much as how diverse you are, the more diverse you are, the more successful you would be. So that's one thing Sri Lanka has to embrace, and it breaks my heart. I went through 1983 riots, when it breaks my heart to see such racial things going on. Yes, extremism shouldn't be kept, but nobody should be, the fact that we are from different races and religion should be unique to Sri Lanka, and we should use that diversity anyways. So after during transportation, I must say I ran it for 5 years, till now I'm actually running it though. In that 4 or 5 years, we kind of the revenue grew by four times. I divested a lot of portfolios. I made a lot of mistakes there. We invested in things which went belly up, but 1 or 2 really did well. So remember, it's not that, and I had the license to make mistakes. So Hussein said, up to 100 million, you can make mistakes. That's your way of learning. So I would have lost about 40 million in that process. But from the other 60 which I invested, that grew a lot. So that was what we did. Then during that time, whenever they looked at so one other reason they gave me transportation to say was that you do these employee engagement scores, right? And that was one of the lowest in the group. So within 2 years, that became the highest in the group. So in 2016, they wanted me to take over pharma. Again, the same problem. It was the second biggest for the group, but it had a highly disengaged team. And so I've run pharma now for 4 years. In 4 years, we have doubled the revenues. But the biggest thing is I feel the team has really become good leaders and they run it. I think for the last 2 years, I was hardly in my seat too long because I was either going into Harvard or back. But the joy I get seeing people being their best selves and being leaders within themselves is like amazing. Yes, I became redundant in the process. I used to laugh and tell my boss when they said, go to Harvard. I said, yeah, for 1 year, when I keep going and coming every 3 months, I won't have a job. But you know what? Each time I made myself redundant, I got another job. So that's another thing. Don't protect. I mean, it's good for you all to teach people and make your job redundant so that you can open up to do something better and bigger. So now I'm at the moment I'm doing my deputy CEO role for the next 2 months, and hopefully, as they say, I take over on the 1st of October. But that's on my career. I just like to give a quick thing about leaderships and how you all will change. Look, remember, when I used to, so you can't influence and change people when you grow. Not too much. In different ways, you influence and change. So when I used to be the director of finance of one company with 15 attempters, it's easy. So whatever my way I thought, I could teach people. Those 15 people were easily accessible. They could be trained by me. I had the capacity because it's only 15, right? So when I moved to lead at shared services, I had a team of 40. I couldn't do the same thing. So at one point, you teach them the values of what you want them to do. You teach them the attitude you want them to do. And when, as a leader, when times get tough, then you go in front. You lead from front when the times are tough. If not, you should be okay. I'm okay to let go and let them lead. So when the teams get bigger, you need to learn to move back and let teams lead themselves and but know how to guide them. So when I moved to, I remember when we were setting up shared services, there was this one company, the FMCG company. So the model of shared services, you try to bring all the process into the center and you make it efficient. So we had 120 odd people in finance. We brought it down to the center with 30 people, and we had another 10 in the businesses. So when you bring companies one by one, the last company gets a less amount of people coming in. So we needed 2 from the biggest company, FMCG. And there was an Indian CEO there called Debu. So myself and my CEO said, we only want these 2 people. And he said, who are you to tell me what you want? I don't want to go into shared services. We are not going to do anything like that. You can take your shared service and go. So I said, okay. I came back. Of course, we were very upset because I was not used to being people shouting at me, but came back and then so I told my team, look, let's be better than anything. Let's be excellent that one day they'll come and beg us to take it from them. So much so that not even 6 months later was the 31st March year end. And we closed the group on the 5th working day, and they were on the 20th working day, they were struggling. And then they would call me and Kasturi, can you help us to do this? And can you take over for our FMCG? So sometimes when you're excellent, things come back. But in this whole journey, I grew as a person. So I was a person who was very, I wanted things done. Because I needed to go back home and I had another life, I wouldn't waste time in kind of talking too much and stuff. So in some ways, it came out a bit more aggressive. And if they did 360s, so when I was growing as a leader, they would do 360s. And I realized I was not being fair by my team if I didn't slow down. So when I think fast and I'm making decisions for them, it may be successful for that moment, but I was not teaching them to think, which was wrong. So I had to be trained and coached to actually let go and let free thought happen, even if it's a wrong thought. Try and shape the thought so that they get trained. So my 360s would be, Kasturi is passionate, excellent, all that, but she's very aggressive, and somehow we can't share our thoughts with her because she doesn't listen to others. She's very aggressive. All these things were coming out. So I had to step back and listen. I couldn't not listen. And from their side, that was valid because I was just trying to dictate what I thought was right and what was wrong. So that's how I grew. And of course, they also knew I was compassionate and stuff like that. But where work was concerned, I had to adjust a lot to take people along. So finally, not much, beyond that is that when I grew into the C-level roles, it doesn't come without issues. I'll tell you, it doesn't come that nobody gave me this job on a platter. Any corporate has its issues, but I guess there are points there was sometime there was so much of issues that I was thinking, look, what do I do? And then inside my heart, I thought, this is about 8 years ago, I thought, Kasturi, put your head down. You need to do this job because you need to educate your kids and make sure you're your best self at that point. So I didn't leave any room for any errors. I was really working 110%. And when that period goes, you come out stronger. So sometimes in life, most times in life, there'll be tough times. That's guaranteed. But put your head down and remember tomorrow is always going to be better than today. And lean on people. In my life, I've leaned on everybody, from my mother to my domestics at home, to my driver, to my mother's nurses, to my secretary, to my colleagues, to my bosses. I mean, some days I remember when my younger son had to enter uni in Malaysia, it was the board meeting, the annual board meeting where you have expat board members coming in. And I just told Hussein, I'm sorry, I'm going off and it's my son's first day, I have to be there. Can you do my presentation? And he said, okay. So sometimes you need to do what you feel is right and lean on people and don't feel shy about it. So my whole life is that I leant on people and yeah, I may not have come from I wouldn't have come from a very, very wealthy family, but eventually people helped me to succeed in whatever role or whatever I've done. So, and you can see I've moved from maths to finance to process to business to everything, pharmaceuticals. When I took over pharmaceutical industry, I spent a lot of time learning. I learned about the industry. I read about the industry. If I go for a meeting, I would be downloading and preparing myself because that conversation you have with that person has to leave a lasting impression. And don't ever go unprepared for any meeting. The smallest of meetings you need to get prepared. That was a discipline I always had. So that helped me so that the principals would say, Kasturi, you know so much more than the others. And it's just because I took the effort to learn. And I didn't do my MBA. I didn't do it because one was, I couldn't afford it when my kids were studying. And secondly, that was my time I would spend with my children. But 3 years ago, I did go to Harvard for 1 year. I did go to Harvard. I mean, it was like every 3 months, I would go for 6 weeks or something and come back. But I've enjoyed it. So, you know, there is no rush for you to finish everything when you're in your 20s. But the life is opened out to you. And when you stand today, you won't know what you're going to be when you're 40 or 20 or 30. But you know one thing, whatever the world throws at you, you have the strength to take it and make it your own. I mean, if you can't control it, don't stress out. There will be so many times you can't control things which come to your way. Don't stress out. Just learn how to navigate it and go forward. So that's my little speech to you all. And I can't even see a reaction. So it's like I have spoken and listened to myself for 40 minutes, which is not really easy. Did people hear it?
Yes, we did hear it, Mrs. Wilson.
Oh, relief. It's like I was a monologue for 30 and gosh, it was like very tough. I would love to come and see you all personally and talk. That way I'll be more comfortable.
Thank you, Mrs. Chellaraja Wilson, for those amazing words. We are inspired by you and your strength is so much. We are definitely privileged to have heard from you and learned from you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts.
You're welcome. And congratulations to whoever has won today.
We'll be announcing the winner soon, ma'am.
Okay.
Today, we are very privileged to have our university's Vice Chancellor, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeyarathne, with us as our chief guest. Senior Professor Wijeyarathne, it is an honor for our club to have you address the gathering today. She is an alumnus and an academic in Reproductive Medicine and Endocrinology, Department of Obstetrics and Gynecology in the Faculty of Medicine, University of Colombo since 1993. She has been a senior professor since 2010. Without further ado, therefore, let us warmly welcome our dear Vice Chancellor to the screen.
Very good afternoon. I'm sorry my video does not seem to be coming on, Tarindi. But thank you very much for inviting me.
Master. Yes, madam. So, Master, can you please check whether the video can be turned on? Ah, yes. It's all right.
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the University of Colombo, I would like to congratulate all the students and also give my blessings to the entire group for having worked so hard despite many challenges of having to work from home and off campus. May I also welcome our keynote speaker. I really did enjoy your talk, Ms. Kasturi. I mean, I've heard so much about you from your boss, but I never had the pleasure of meeting you. So warm welcome to the university event. And also to our guest of honor, Mr. Mahalingam, whom I'm sure we'll be hearing very soon. And particularly the president and the executive committee of the Gavel Club, and also the wonderful speakers. My apologies for having not been there from the speaker number one, but I believe that of those contestants who were the finalists, there was a preponderance of females, and then along with Mrs. Chellaraja and myself, I wonder whether it is a reasonable gender mix. So nevertheless, we know that in our university, in many of our study streams, we have a lot of girls. And coming from a medical background, I know that we women tend to be a little bit more verbose than our male counterparts. But nevertheless, I think this is a wonderful opportunity for our university to have this very active group, well supported by the staff members. I know Dr. Nadisha Basnayaka is the current staff lead, but also the fact that Dr. Dilhari Artigale is also with us, who was very active, and to have brought all the faculties together, and particularly to encourage public speaking and expression of thought. Because education is few and far between the opportunities for the majority of those who qualify to enter university. But right now there are educational reforms being discussed, but one of our main concerns is, as a group of vice chancellors, that we really need to add value to education. And in one of the important components is the ability to communicate in any language, but particularly in English, since it's an international linked language, and the fact that you develop your confidence, your ability to work with as teams, and also inculcate leadership qualities. So I think I'm not going to go beyond that, but since we are all waiting to hear the names of the winners after listening to our guest of honor, and thank you again for inviting me, and it has been an extremely enjoyable afternoon to hear of your childhood experiences, hopes dashed but regained and redirected, as well as those wonderful inspirational story of Mrs. Kasturi Chellaraja. So thank you very much, and all the very best to you. Did you hear me or?
Thank you, Madam Vice Chancellor. Next up, we have another entertainment item lined up for you. Let me invite Gavalier Saseni Wijeyarathne to entertain us with her music.
Loving can hurt sometimes, and it's the only thing that I know. When it gets hard, you know it can get hard sometimes, and it's the only thing that makes us feel alive. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped jeans, holding me closer till our eyes meet. I won't never let you go. Wait for me to come home. Loving can heal, loving can mend your soul. No, no, that's where it will get easier. Remember that with every piece of you, and it's the only thing we take with us when we die. We keep this love in a photograph. We made these memories for ourselves, where our eyes are never closing, hearts are never broken, time's forever frozen still. So you can keep me inside the pocket of your ripped eyes. Me, you won't ever be alone. And if you hurt me, well, that's okay, baby. Only words, please. Inside these pages, you just hold me. I won't ever let you go. Wait for me to come home. 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 So you can fit me inside the necklace you bought when you were 16. Next to your heartbeat where I should be, keeping me deep in. So if you hurt me, well, that's okay, baby. Only words, please. Inside these pages, you just hold me. I won't ever let you go. When you're away, I will remember how you kissed me under the lamppost back on 6th Street, hearing you whisper through the phone. Wait for me to come home.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sasani. Now, I would like to invite our guest of honor, distinguished Toastmaster Sarma Mahalingam. Mr. Mahalingam is the immediate past district director of Toastmaster District 82. Mr. Mahalingam, the screen is yours.
Thank you. Your words can inspire, or it can destroy your life, others' life. And you have to choose well of your words. The chief guest, Chandrika Wijeyarathne, Professor of University of Colombo, Vice Chancellor, and the keynote speaker, the managing director of Hema's group, Mrs. Kasturi Chellaraja, and senior faculty members and Gavaliers and the contestant and fellow Toastmasters who helping this event to be a success. I have been watching these last 6 speeches and I was inspired, and the words of wisdom which came through these all 6 speakers, especially all female speakers, made me to think something different. 2 of them spoke about how you can come out of the fear, and one speaker spoke on your choices, and the other one spoke on focus, and the 5th one spoke on never give up, and the 6th speak was about helping others. Every message has inspired me, and I believe that it has inspired everyone out there. The word are the most important thing which you put across, can inspire people or maybe which can destroy. Think about a moment that you have taken part in this contest from the start up to the final. What is your why? Have you thought that I am not only going to win by taking an award, or am I going to take my inspiring words throughout my career beyond this contest? I have been witnessing many intra-university contests these Gavel clubs are vibrantly handling, but I only want to see that how this contest gives a person a future. When you are becoming a speaker from the start, you are very well know that you bring a discipline within you. Every individual is an uncut diamond. When you sharpen your skill slowly and to become a polished diamond. As the professor said, I also saw in some researchers, 20% of your knowledge gives you an opportunity to get into an organization, but 80% of emotional attachment where you are working and with whom you are working is going to give you the promotion. The knowledge will give you the job, but the other skills, what you learn, is going to give you the promotion. The communication is one of the key skills that you need to get to go beyond where you join. That is the reason the Toastmaster movement is growing exponentially than any other movement in the world. We are easily growing year on year beyond 8%. Today, we have over 16,000 Toastmaster clubs all over the world with over 400,000 members. In Sri Lanka, we have about 163 clubs, and 75% of these clubs are corporate clubs. Why? This is the need of the hour for the corporates. Without a linked language, without the English, without how do you communicate with international clients and customers, you won't be able to make your promotions. We as Toastmasters striving to send across this message wherever possible and to make sure everyone who joins, who take this communication and leadership track to excel wherever they are in. We as Toastmasters, today you would have seen from the preliminary up to the final, many of the Toastmasters are being judges and the team players behind the scene to put this event to the best. We also want you all not to stop as contestants, as organizers, as leaders of this intra-university contest, just to leave it once everything is over. Wherever you go, even in your professional life and personal life, try to use these skills and to be a different person. The words what you use today, the inspiring word what you use today, should not confine to the Zoom meeting or the confine to this contest, but this inspiration should be practical and reality everywhere, wherever you go. So my humble request for all these contestants from the preliminary stage, who may be, or one we may win, but every one of you had taken the steps to sharpen your skill and to become a better diamond. But this diamond should be polished again and again to shine brighter and brighter. The only way is to sharpen your skills to become a better person. I know every one of you are going to be a graduate and to come out and join in some organization or going to start some entrepreneurship on your own. But only way you can move up is to have interpersonal communication skills and management skills and dynamic leadership skills with confidence. So this brought you a little bit of communication and confidence within you. But beyond that, you have to do more work to sharpen your skills. Then only you will become a better person in your life. I take this opportunity to thank all the Toastmasters who have helped to put this event to the high standard. And I'm really happy that Professor Chandrika Wijeyarathne is there from the, I think from the second or third speaker was speaking, patiently waiting to listen to people and just give a confidence and encouragement for this communication and leadership skill learning base. So we have two clubs in University of Colombo, one for the academies, and we just started a brand new Toastmaster club for the students. And there are Gavel clubs all over the universities. So the Gavel club limits the beyond activity because there is very limited curriculum available for these students in an under Gavel scheme. So we encourage not only for students and even academias to take these skills where it will help definitely to communicate with the students and outside world. My only urge is the students to continue this career of Toastmaster, to build up your communication and leadership skills, to inspire others with your words than destroy others with your bad words. Over to you, the MC.
Thank you, DTM Sarma Mahalingam. It was indeed a great thing for us to be able to listen to you today. Ladies and gentlemen, we are now coming to the end of Oration 2020. Before we carry out with the proceedings, there is one person that we need to hear from. To address the gathering with a vote of thanks, please welcome to the screen co-chair of Oration 2020, Cavalier Dilshan Chandragupta.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I deem it a great honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the organizing committee of Oration 2020. First and foremost, I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our chief guest, Senior Professor Chandrika Wijeyarathne, the Vice Chancellor of the University of Colombo, who, despite her busy schedule, has found time to grace this occasion. I must mention my deep sense of appreciation for distinguished Toastmaster Sarma Mahalingam, the guest of honor, for taking precious time out of his schedule and being a part of this event. Further, I express my sincere thanks to Mrs. Kasturi Chellaraja Wilson, the keynote speaker of this occasion, for being here today and inspiring us with her words. I would like to thank Toastmasters Sandun Fernando on conducting the workshop for Oration 2020 on how to prepare and deliver a competition speech effectively. I am extremely grateful to the Chief Judge for the preliminary round, Distinguished Toastmaster Chandrika Wijeyarathne, Chief Judge for the semi-final round, Toastmaster Safras Lamir, the Chief Judge for the finals, Toastmaster Rauf Hakim, the Chief Judge for the competition, Distinguished Toastmaster Punsiri Mewan Kamrawala, and all the judges for their time and dedication which made it possible for us to reward our contestants for their creative efforts. I thank our workshop sponsor, Creative Software, for their generous sponsorship. I also thank the Career Guidance Unit of the University of Colombo for their valuable support, without which this event would not have been a success. I thank FOSS Media, the official media partner of Oration 2020, for their great contribution towards making this event a success. We are fortunate to have been greatly assisted by our club mentor, Toastmaster Arshad Visam. Thank you for your constant support in mentoring and encouraging the finalists to do their best today. Also, for dispensing valuable advice to us all and nurturing our speakers and club members to grow as individuals. A note of special gratitude goes out to the Gavel Club alumni for their support and encouragement, and the Executive Committee of the Gavel Club of UOC for their valuable guidance. I thank all the contestants for being part of Oration 2020 and making this event a resounding success. A hearty thank you to all the distinguished invitees and guests for accepting our invitation and being here today. Thank you to everyone who turned in on Facebook Live. I hope this has been an interesting experience and that you enjoyed the talents of our speakers. Your support means so much. An event like this cannot happen overnight, and this event definitely did not happen overnight. Disaster may have plagued the nation, but the organizing committee pushed through. The wheels started rolling months ago, and we, the two co-chairs, have been fortunate enough to be backed by a team of very motivated and dedicated Gavaliers as the organizing committee of Oration 2020. I cannot thank everyone enough for their involvement and willingness, which made this event a massive success. Oration 2020 makes its way to the Gavel UOC history books as the first online speech competition in the club's history. We are proud of this legacy and are glad that so many individuals benefited from being a part of this competition. This may have been your first push towards a career in public speaking. It may have been the call to step out of your comfort zone. We have seen our Gavaliers improve with every passing week, and we take the pride in being able to facilitate that development. Oration 2020 has been a resounding success, and I'm glad I got to be a part of it. On that note, officially signing off as co-chair for Oration 2020. Over to you.
Thank you, Gavalier Dilshan. As part of the organizing committee ourselves, it was a delight for us to see how this competition unfolded. We are proud to say that we did something that Gavel UOC has never done before. Before we announce the winners, let's have a quick word from our sponsors.
Welcome to Creative Software, home of some of Sri Lanka's finest software professionals known as the Creatives, develop solutions loved by millions all over the world. Well, maybe not in Antarctica. So who exactly are the Creatives? Meet Lakmal. He works on a world-leading Swedish customer experience app. Lakmal is uber curious about all things tech. He devours new technologies, so keeping up with him is a bit of a challenge for his team. But it's a good challenge to have. He keeps them on top of their game both at work and at the foosball table. Work hard, play hard, right? Hi, Iranga. Iranga is often quiet, but he's an undercover genius, PhD candidate. Iranga? Hey. Oh, yes, the visa appointment. His team is going on a Viking trip to Sweden. Last year, it was skiing in Åre. Hey. This is Dilhari, the lady boss. Her team works on an innovative Danish advertising platform. While Dilhari is not too busy breaking the glass ceiling of tech industry, she enjoys art and crafts and will probably make your next birthday card. It will be the best damn card you've ever seen. Meet Sharan. He may be in his late 20s, but this guy is one of Sri Lanka's most promising entrepreneurs. His e-learning platform, Layup, is dominating the local and conquering the international market as you're watching this. He came to us when he was just a babypreneur. Now look at him, all grown up and ready to take over the world. We're so proud. Meet Sushena and Jonas, the creative directors. Jonas isn't at the office today, but he sends his regards. Even though they are the directors of one of Sri Lanka's leading software companies, you can say hi to them anytime you want. Creative software is a flat organization, which means that all creatives are equal. Whether you are an intern, a software engineer, or manager, it doesn't matter. We are all different, but we are all one team. A team of smart, game-changing, fun-loving, and, well, creative software professionals doing what we love and what we do best. We are the Creatives. Interested in joining us? Getting in is not easy, but we encourage you to try. Go to our careers page and apply today. Good luck.
All right. Now, the time is fast approaching to crown the winner of Oration 2020. We also have a few other prizes to give away, so get excited. Now, I would like to kindly request all 6 contestants to switch on their video. Before we announce the winners, we just want to say you are all great speakers, and we are excited to see how you shape your oratory journey in the future. Congratulations for taking the step forward and for giving your absolute best. So now, I'm going to announce the much awaited results. In my hand, I have the list of winners. Which faculty do you think will take the trophy home? Will it be the Faculty of Science? Is it going to be the Faculty of Arts? Is it going to be the Faculty of Law? Or will it be UCSC? First, I'm going to announce the most popular speaker. The most popular speaker was selected based on social media votes. The most popular speaker of Oration 2020 is... Congratulations, Ganeshini.
Pressure is building up in here, and trust me, we can feel it. We don't want to keep you waiting for long. So without further ado, let me announce the second runner-up. The second runner-up of Oration 2020 is... Mayura Sukumaran. Congratulations, Mayura.
Now it's time to announce the first runner-up. The first runner-up of Oration 2020 is... Congratulations, Hirudini.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the moment we've all been waiting for has finally arrived. It's time to announce the winner of Oration 2020. Before I announce, I would like to ask Ishani Senadipati, Ganeshiri Sridharan, Ramalka Kasige, and Dasuni Madhararachi to unmute their mics. So Ishani, let me ask you, how has your journey been thus far on Oration 2020?
It was amazing, actually. I really didn't think that I would come this far. So yeah, it was amazing. The journey, this is my first time competing in any competition. So yeah, this experience is amazing. And thank you for that, organizing committee.
Thank you, Ishani. Next, Ramalka. Can you describe how it feels to be a finalist and speak in front of all these people?
Well, Gavel Club of University of Colombo was given a seed who had some oratory skills. They mentored, they evaluated, they guided. And I'm happy that I'm the finalist, and Gavel Club of University of Colombo should be more happy than I am that the seed that they nurtured had come to the finals and done great here.
Thank you, Ramalka. Next, Dasuni. Can you tell us how you feel? What is going on inside your head right now?
Well, actually, like, I'm excited, and yeah, that's it.
Thank you, Dasuni. And finally, Ganeshini, you just became the most popular speaker. Can we know what you're going to do with the money you just won?
Obviously, I have to treat the guys who voted me because I am indebted to them. I don't think I would have won the popular speaker without their help. It's absolutely their job. So I'm so grateful for all the support I've got, and I'm really heartwarmed.
Thank you, Ganeshini. Now it's time to announce the winner. The winner of Oration 2020 is... Ramalka Kasige. Congratulations, Ramalka. Would you like to tell a few words to the audience?
I feel as if I've given the hardest table topic by a table topic master and abruptly asked me to come in front and talk. Well, what should I say? Yeah, of course, I have two things to say. Like, I have one thing to say, that I have a big list to thank you, but I won't tell the list because if I miss any, I would fail in my duty in thanking them. So much gratitude to all of my mentors, evaluators, and my fellow Gavaliers and my senior Gavaliers who had always been backed me up and supported me in every step I took. And special thank you to Toastmaster Arshad Nizam, who was my evaluator in CC1, and since then he was one of the greatest mentors I've ever met, who had been mentoring me. So I won't speak much, but I need to tell this. I'm happy, humbly proud and happy for two things. One, I was able to make my parents proud. They are here. I could see the tears in my mother's face, and they were the reason behind them are happiness. And one last thing that I'm humbly proud, because a Bishopian of Department of Zoology and Environment Sciences of Faculty of Science was able to bring back home the trophy again. Thank you, and over to you, Dasita.
Thank you, Ramaka. Congratulations to our champion, our finalists, and to everyone who competed in Oration 2020. We all know how hard it is these days to defeat the lethargy and take a step towards developing ourselves. And we are so proud of you all for taking that formative step. As ardent Gavaliers, all we have to say is keep giving speeches. The Gava Club of University of Colombo has been around for 5 years, and being a part of this club has helped us all become better speakers and better communicators. We are a family here at Gaval UOC, and we are proud of our Gavaliers for all they have achieved today. There's a popular and true saying about Gaval UOC, and that is Gaval never stops. Having a speech competition in the middle of a global pandemic really gives the phrase a whole new meaning.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this Zoom meeting may not have a limit, but our competition certainly does. So, we have now arrived at the end of this wonderful journey. Thank you to everyone for being here and witnessing our legendary speech competition. Thank you to our role players for a fantastic job done. And thank you to everyone who did something to make this event a resounding success. And with that, let's all sign off. Good evening. Have a great night.